A very good morning to doctor and fellow friends. In this group, we would like to present about fraud, which is dishonesty act by an employee that results in personal benefit to the employee at a cost to the employer. The type of role play we choose was segregation of duties. Segregation of duties is a concept of having more than one person required to complete a task. In this video, we will show a situation where a segregation of duties is important for a company to avoid fraud happens in a company.
Have you heard that an employee of our company has been arrested on suspicion that he committed fraud in the organization? If so, have you received this information? After being given the sales department as their department, the person was subsequently placed there. The workers' principal's duty consisted of doing little more than recording bills to be sent to consumer. On the other side, he made up the invoice to make himself look better. The employee overcharged the customer with fees and taxes that had been authorized despite the fact that the customer owed the company no money.
Is it true that I have not received any information regarding the worker who was discovered committing fraud within the organization? Hearing about this incident comes as a complete surprise. How cunningly did the employee conduct fraud while working for the company? This is a severe problem that the higher authorities should treat with more importance since it deserves it, because fraud is a severe problem that can result in the organization going bankrupt, being delisted from the stock exchange, and having assets sold off inside the business.
This is a terrifying incident that has occurred at our business. The courageous employee created a fake invoice and sent it to the customer. This incident happened because the employee was having financial trouble and it is possible that he committed fraud. This is maybe the outcome of unfavorable circumstances, such as the end of romantic relationship or consequence of the person's own reckless behavior, such as living an extravagant lifestyle beyond their financial means or ranking up significant gaming debt.
Hi, my name is Nurshada Shamim binti Suhaimi. Now I want to present the workers for. There are a number of means to prevent fraud from taking place in the company. It is important to ensure that the same individual is not responsible for both sending and recording the invoice. In addition, the invoice needs to be reconciled to the general ledger by a person who is not responsible for either the recorder of the sender obligation. A review of the reconciliation by management can serve as a compensatory control in a department with only one or two individuals, as long as management is aware of the situation. Then comes reducing to a minimum to number of time an invoice is passed from one person to another. When multiple employees touch cash prior to it being delivered to the customer, there is a breakdown in accountability.
Assalamualaikum to Dr. Johanna. I would like to talk about Worker 5. The detection of fraudulent transaction is another capability we have. Firstly, we are able to obtain purchase orders from customer via client. Check to see if there is a legitimate customer purchase order contained in the documentation that supports a sample of the customer bill when you are evaluating those invoices. In the event that there is no purchase order from the buyer, you can verify the purchase by confirming it directly with the consumer. It's possible that the entry for the sale is fake if the customer denies making any purchases. It is necessary to conduct additional research in order to comprehend the reason behind the customer posting the sellers in the first place. The next step is in the event that there are manual revenue journal entries. It is possible to achieve higher sales by making an entry in the journal pertaining to the revenue account. In light of this, it is important to investigate the factor that led to any manual journal entries being submitted to the revenue account rather than being required to do so though the seller's function of the accounting software. Thank you.
My name is Celestiani, so my part I will explain the importance of segregation of duties. First, fraud prevention. Segregation of duties serves as a deterrent against fraudulent activities. By dividing critical function among multiple employees, it becomes more difficult for a single individual to carry out and conceal fraudulent action without detection. For example, spreading the roles of authorization, record keeping, and custody of assets reduce the risk of misappropriation. Okay, so the second, error detection and correction. When different individuals are involved in different stages of a process, it increases the likelihood of error being identified and correct. The involvement of multiple parties provides a system of checks and balance, ensuring that mistakes are less likely to go unnoticed or unaddressed. The third, accountability and transparency. Segregating duties helps foster a culture of accountability and transparency within an organization. When responsibilities are clearly defined and distributed, it becomes easier to identify who is responsible for each task or decision. This accountability promotes ethical behavior and discourages action that may be detrimental to the organization. The fourth, operational efficiency. Segregation of duties can enhance operational efficiency by ensuring that tasks are appropriately divided among individuals with the relevant skills and expertise. Next, compliance with regulation and standard. Many regulatory frameworks and industry standards require the segregation of duties as a best practice. For instance, in financial accounting, the separation of duties between individuals involved in initiating transactions, recording them, and reconciling accounts is often mandated by laws and regulation. For the last one, risk mitigation. Segregation of duties is an essential component of risk management. By distributing responsibilities, organizations